Hi, hello there, and Happy New Year. Happy 2019. Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian here, also known as Psychic Cynthia. And welcome to your new year. And I'm making this video for you just to give you all a quick micro forecast of the month ahead and perhaps a little bit about the year ahead for you. The good news is that energetically speaking, cosmic speakingly, we are starting off the new year pretty good. I mean, in comparison to recent years, for the first time in several years, we get to start off this new year with free and clear with hardly any retrogrades. Actually, there was only one and major retrograde, and that was Uranus, and that planet went direct on the 6th. And I'm filming this video on, I believe it's the 9th of January, 2019. So we're free and clear. No major retrogrades. Can you believe it? I mean, if you've been following any of the cosmic stuff, the last, 4 months of 2018, boy, it was rough for the retrogrades. And 2018 did have more retrogrades than a usual year because Venus and Mars were both retrograding in the same year. So I don't know if you noticed this or not, but because of the energies and the way they were unfolding with the extra retrogrades and the eclipses hitting us particularly hard in 2018, that year, last year, was a year for many people of grappling with ongoing issues and past conditions and the past and karma and heaviness and all those things that are not fun at all, okay? They were not fun at all. And listen, if you had a great year last year, good for you. That is so wonderful. And may it continue forward in 2019. But just let you know, that was not the experience for many people. So, and of course, we need to deal with our karma. We need to deal with the past that is weighing us down with our heavy baggage. All of that is a very necessary element of the universe and spiritual growth. So there's nothing really to feel bad about with what happened in 2018. But I do want you to just understand moving forward to 2019 that the path is much more clear and open. So this is a potentially a more powerful year for co-creation and manifestation. Now, just so you know, these first few months of the year are much more open. There's much more availability for easy change. In other words, if you want to make the change and take the step and create something new in 2019, basically the first 3 months are a really good time to be doing that, especially January and February. Now, come March, we start to hit our first Mercury retrograde, which I'll talk more about that later as we get closer. But most of you have probably heard by now that Mercury retrograde tends to throw a wrench in our cosmic plans. So that's the beginning of the retrograde cycle proper for 2019. And then we go into April, and there are more and more retrogrades. So April through, I don't have my calendars in front of me, but I have looked at the data. So off the top of my head, it would be, March is Mercury retrograde. And then you have more after April. So let's say April, May, and June in particular. These are heavier retrograde months. But hey, it's only January now, and we've got all February without any major retrogrades. Then we're going to come into March. I do remember off the top of my head from looking at the data that because, Mercury does all this little pre-retrograde stuff, right? So basically, if you want to initiate major projects for the year, and if you're able to do this, you want to get started by or before the last day of February. That's not the date that Mercury goes into retrograde. That's just the date that it begins to start doing some of its, the next day, March 1st, it starts doing some of its pre-retrograde shadow and so on. So let's get things kicked into gear. Now, I do want to say we just had a solar eclipse in Capricorn last Saturday, okay? I think that would have been the 6th as well. I have to check, or it was the 5th. It was the 5th, excuse me. And this was a new moon eclipse. All solar eclipses take place at the new moon. Not the full moon, okay, the new moon. And it was not visible in the area where we're at in North America, which means it's not quite as powerful for us as it was in the places in the world where it was visible. But still, there's some power with the solar eclipse and happening so close to the beginning of the year. And what this was doing, it was slowing us down a little bit, like a retrograde. It's not the same as a retrograde, but it is bringing up some past issues yet further to help us clear more. So don't be surprised at all if you aren't still dealing with some loose ends. Actually, what I have noticed, just my observation the last few days, because it's been about 3 or 4 days since that eclipse, 4, I guess. And, you really start to see the effects in the first 72 hours after the eclipse and before. And what I'm seeing, is that many people are feeling the stirrings, the longings in their heart to follow a soul longing. You might say a soul purpose, a higher purpose, or a higher calling, a higher destiny. And this is something that has been inside of us for a long time. So in that respect, it really does relate to the past connection of the eclipse, which is also like a retrograde in a way. People are thinking about things that have been there in the background for a while, desires, and beginning to act on them. So as you're beginning this new year, you might want to think about what are those dreams in your heart that have been bubbling up, the unfinished business, so to speak, not just unfinished relationship business or unfinished, money-related business or unfinished health business. Yes, deal with that. And that will be activated, is being activated by this eclipse. But you also want to think about where are those unfinished loose ends in your heart, those callings, those deep, deep desires, are just something that won't leave you alone. You know what I mean? There's always something that in life I think that we feel we should do that kind of stalks us in the back of our mind. And I know for me, one of the things that's really been coming to me and calling me and basically grabbing me is this long-term thought, desire, I guess, idea that maybe I need to find new ways to open roadways and pathways for those people who wish to study with me to be more spiritual psychic. And this has been speaking to me for a long time. Of course, I've always had different programs, but anyway, this year, right now, even as I'm making this video, I'm in the process of launching my spiritual psychic certification program. So I've already done the level 1, the first series of videos, Awakening Your Inner Psychic. And of course, there'll need to be a lot more than one level because those are very basic to get people started. But that's something Spirit has been speaking to me personally for a long time, that with all the knowledge that I've gained and all, the teachers I've been blessed to study with and the things I've been able to absorb, I want to keep passing that on. And then it's also come to my attention that mainly through clients that some of you would like a certification to, I guess you'd say, document and chart your progress in the learning. So I'm in the midst of creating a certification program. It's a big deal. It's a lot of work. I'm creating online exams and things like that. And this is something that's been with me for a long time. And honestly, I kept waiting for somebody else to do it. I kept hoping, surely somebody else in this area will create this psychic certification program. Well, it's been at least 6 or 7 years since this idea came to me, and it hasn't happened. So here I am. I'm doing it now. We'll see where it takes me, right? And that's the thing. When you answer the soul's call, the longing in your heart, you can't know where it's going to take you. You can't know how it's going to end. You can't know how far it's going to go. It's not about that. It's not about trying to grab onto some kind of control and make things a certain way. It's about the ride, the experience, the unfolding, the evolution of yourself as you go through this journey, whatever your equivalent journey is. So those are some thoughts I have for you as we're beginning the new year, some things to think about. There is a full moon later this month. I believe that would be, I just looked at the date, but I cannot recall it for the life of me, but it would be 14 days after the new moon. So that would be the 19th, I believe. And that's another eclipse. That would be a lunar full moon eclipse. And these tend to bring up the emotions more, and the emotional energy and the interior energy. It's in the sign of Leo, so that could be romantic for some, that could be partnership orientated, but it also can activate issues in that area. It can also activate issues with children or students, or if you're a boss or a manager, the people that you manage. And then also it can bring out our own inner children, for better or for worse. So maybe that would be a good time of the month. Again, that's around the 19th, to schedule some time out for your own inner child, whatever it is you find fun and rewarding to do. So get a little play on. And those are all some tips for the month ahead. But hey, clear skies, no retrogrades. Take advantage. Until next time, love to y'all. Many blessings.